James was obviously talking nonsense, but there's no getting around the fact that these three cars take automotive science to a new level. They use latest green technology to squeeze as much speed as possible from every molecule of fuel. As a result, they're all capable of blasting way past 200 miles an hour whilst producing fewer harmful emissions than a family saloon. What we have here, then, are three incredible machines which, at a stroke, have made the traditional supercar look wooden and old-fashioned. Welcome, everyone, to the Hypercar Holy Trinity.
Looking good. Holy crap! All right. Full throttle. Yes. Yes. Yes, come on. Oh, yes.
I'd like to say I'm sorry, but really this is a punishment for your own greed and failure.
I'm winning. You look like a moron. Oh, that's interesting.
We could have played out there all day, but before we ended up in a £3 million crash, we decided to start the tests to see which of the cars was best. I came up with the first one, mainly to annoy gatecrasher May.
Let's make the first test a drag race using electrical power only.
Good idea.
No, it isn't a good idea.
Why not?
Because you can't drive the Ferrari on electrical power only.
No.
No, but of course you can't, because it's a Kerr system like a Formula One car. It's got a V12 engine and an electric motor, but they're all integrated. They work together all of the time. You can't separate them.
You should have thought about that, shouldn't you?
Bad planning.
With James reduced to the role of onlooker, we lined up the P1 and the 918 on the start line. But then, instead of revving the petrol engines, we shut them down.
3, 2, 1. Oh, come on. Go!
Quoi? Ah, je peux même pas choisir mon voiture. Putain. Et la petite Porsche.
Humiliated me massively.
Instead of revving the petrol engines, we shut them down.
Three, two, one, go! Yeah!
That's bold.
Ouais, une épreuve pour elle.
Who won that? It was me, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's not important though, is it?
Is it not?
No, it's just not relevant.
Right, right. In a drag race, it's irrelevant which car gets there first.
Yeah, yours is the better milk float.
Back in the pits, Hammond had an idea for the next test.
We've got to drive to the hotel, yeah, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's about an hour away, and it gives us a chance to see what they're like on the road.
That's a good point.
Real world.
That is a good point.
I can't do that. I can't drive the Ferrari on the road.
Why?
Well, it's not registered.
It is, got number plates.
No, that's just pretend number plates. If they register it, it becomes second-hand and they have to pay the tax. That's why it came in a lorry.
So you can't drive it on the road either.
Nobody can drive it. It's not road legal.
Oh, no.
Mate, that's...
Oh, that is such a shame.
It's an hour of...
Oh, sorry, James. That's really a rotten bit of luck, because you've come a long way from Italy.
Soon, Richard and I were enjoying the world's best ever commute.
Oh putain, je peux pas choisir encore quoi.
Oh yeah! That way! Give me everything you've got. Come on, come on, come on.
Ah salope. Oh là là.
Oh my god!
Franchement, maniabilité, j'aurais pu faire mieux. Excellent.
We're off.
Oh putain. Pire qu'un Need for Speed quoi. Nique sa mère. Ah fils de... Putain.
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, no. Bad.
Putain ça fait chier, on peut même pas changer de voiture quoi. pas tough. Et voilà, et je recommence. Connerie. Si on pouvait changer la musique, là, c'est
Go, go, go! Brilliant! Interleaders failed! So here we go, here we go. Oh, for God's sake. Oh,
Oh, mais putain de ta race.
oh God. Go, go.
Mobilité de merde.
Oh, Lordy Lord.
Oh, bloody hell. You're all right. You're all right in Italian.
Ah bah si tu sais pas conduire un camion en plus.
Oh, God.
Dave, sorry to have to say this, but that Ferrari is useless.
Yes. Later on in part 2, when these two have stopped dreaming up idiotic and irrelevant tests that it can't take part in, we shall see.
We've got to tell everyone about our track. Yes, we have one. This is the sort of place where you can drive cars at speeds that you can do on the road, but only if you want to go to prison afterwards.
What, like 38 miles an hour?
Well, 39, maybe even 40 from time to time. Now, we were hoping that we could bring it round the world with us, like the tent, but unfortunately it's too heavy. And as you're about to see, too bitey. This is it. It's not a race circuit. It's not an airfield. It's not a road. What it is brilliant and fast and extremely dangerous. It even looks dangerous on a map, because as you can see, it's the exact same shape as the Ebola virus. Right, time now to show you what a lap looks like, and to do that, we've got a bit of a performance benchmark, a Ferrari 488. Take it away. Take it away. First up, it's the isn't straight, so called because it isn't straight. After the second right on the isn't straight, we're into
Quel jeu.
if you make a mistake, there's no runoff area. It's just woods. We've called this section Old Lady's House because it's right next to a house where an old lady lives. Get this 90 left right, or you'll crash into a cage full of electricity. And you'll need to get the final 90 left right as well, or you'll run into a field of sheep. So, trees, animals, a house, electricity, and because it's in England, usually quite a lot of moisture in the air. It really is the most dangerous track anywhere in the world. The car I've selected for my first lap of the Ebola Drome is this. The BMW M2. back onto the isn't and unleash 360 poly rampaging horsepower from the turbocharged 3-litre straight six. Hurry up! Ow, God, that looks tricky. That's good. This track was
C'est une
designed
catastrophe à jouer,
to trip cars
putain.
up.
Je vais le finir parce que je l'ai acheté.
This isn't as fast in a straight line as an M3, but everywhere else, it is better.
Pire qu'un micro.
Less heavy, less cumbersome.
Putain, mais putain.
They got back onto the isn't and unleashed 360 poly rampaging horsepower from the turbocharged 3-litre straight six. Oh, God, glory of I think this is very good news. This track was designed to trip cars up. There are fast corners, slow corners, drifty corners, and bumps. It's hard on the tyres, it's hard on the brakes, it's hard on the engine. It's point and squirt and bark and yelp. It is vicious. But there is nothing here which has flummoxed the M2. This thing is an absolute masterpiece. Like I said, it is the best M car BMW's ever made. You may think it's mad to suggest the cheapest M car is the best, but look at it this way. This track is a lot cheaper than Silverstone, and I know which one I'd rather drive round.
Let me get this right. At our track,
Yeah.
there's trees, animals, moisture,
Yeah.
electricity, a house, and an unexploded bomb.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the most dangerous track in the world. Honestly, it makes Imola look like a duvet.
Yeah.
It really, honestly, does. It
Anyway,
does.
all the cars that we test at the Ebola Drome will do a timed lap. And to make sure it's a completely level playing field, they will all be driven by the same racing driver. Clever. I thought about this. It gave it some thought.
How clever is that? Now, thing is, Amazon, okay, insisted that the racing driver in question should be from this side of the pond. So we went to something called NASCAR, and we found one, and we shipped him to England, and then we introduced him to the complicated procedure which involves turning right. He's called Mike Skinner, but we know him simply as the American. Right, there he is, looking utterly bewildered. A skitter of a wheel spin, and immediately he's onto the isn't straight. The final corner on the isn't straight. Into your name here.
That's in there. Allez.
Right, there he is, looking utterly bewildered.
Putain, j'arrive pas à faire le système de jeu.
A skitter of wheel spin, and immediately he's onto the Isn't Straight. Corner on the Isn't Straight. It's to your name here. Coming up to Old Lady's house, no turbo lag at all, as he hammers down the bumpy back straight towards substation. One more 90 left to go through Field of Sheep. Now, to make sure that the M2 wasn't on sort of the lap board all by itself, we got the American to put some other benchmark cars, well, we call them benchmark cars, he calls them communist, around the track to see what's what. There they all are. Look, now it's time to see where the M2 goes on that board. Let's have a look. Let's put it on. Oh.
Wow!
It's
I think it's the best M car they've ever made. Oh my goodness!
look.
I prefer it to all the others that are quicker than it.
It's got
It's definitely the one you should have if you want one that's slower than all the other M cars.
It's better. It's only it's quicker than a Civic.
Yeah. Slower than. If you had a choice of M cars, if you lined them all up and said,
Yeah.
I'd like the fastest, it wouldn't be that one.
Shut up.
Better in every single way.
Stop
he said.
saying
You said that.
I don't care what. Have you driven one? You know what? It's a
amazing,
fabulous car. You've driven one. It's a brilliant car. It really, honestly is.
This week we are trying to find out which of the new breed of hybrid hypercars is the best.
Yes, on day one at the track in Portugal, we established that the McLaren P1 is a mentalist, that the Porsche 918 is very good milk float, and that the Ferrari can do nothing at all.
Some of that is true. But now, day two.
We began by lining up the three most exciting cars on the planet for the drag race of all drag races. Naturally, this meant engaging launch control, which in the McLaren takes about a fortnight.
I have to have the drivetrain in track mode, the aero package in sport mode so that the rear end squats when I set off and gives me more traction. I have to have the DRS button pressed with my thumb to keep the rear wing open, which reduces drag, obviously.
Launch control in the Porsche, left foot on the brake, hard, right foot on the throttle, hard. Light goes green, left foot off brake, ding!
Launch button pressed for 2 seconds, left foot on brake, right foot on throttle.
Press launch control, mash the throttle, within 4 seconds, release the brake.
3 seconds later, I have full boost, and I have to set off then within 3 seconds, or the entire system disengages.
I'm going to get this wrong, just so you know. I've got a lot to do in here.
Three, two, one, go!
see which of our cars could do the fastest lap. Our resident American said he wasn't interested because all three cars are probably communist. So instead, we went for a Belgian chap who's done Formula One and Formula E, Jerome D'Ambrosio. Jerome took the cars out to get a sense of how they handled. Finished, we were interested to hear his professional opinion.
La McLaren, une voiture, je pense peut-être la plus difficile à piloter. Très facile de faire une erreur, et c'est vraiment une voiture de grand garçon. Il faut faire attention et donc pas facile de faire un tour. Je pense qu'elle est un peu moins efficace.
At this point, word reached us that Jeremy was taking liberties with the subtitling machine.
Donc c'est
So we moved on to the big event. The timed laps. Once the mechanics had finished their preparations, the 3 speed traps were activated. And the Ferrari took its place on the start line. Look how good it looks there.
James, you want to go and get a cup of tea?
Well, we've warmed the track.
Next, it was the turn of the Porsche 918.
How much faster will it go because of the stripes, do you think?
Much.
Finally, it was the turn of the Psycho Killer, the trickiest, the edgiest of the 3. But I was so confident it'd win, I was prepared to take a massive gamble.
If the McLaren isn't the fastest, you two can knock my house down.
What?
Knock it down.
What, your house?
Yeah, and I mean that. That's how confident I am that that will be the fastest.
That's a you know we will do that.
Yep.
It's a serious bet.
Yeah.
Fine.
If that's not the fastest,
Yeah.
we can knock your house down.
Yep. You know where it is. You've both been.
I'd love to knock it down.
It died.
Here we go. A lot riding on this. With that, back to the tent. Thank you so much. Now, I want to make it absolutely plain, because I know this matters to Anorax. All three cars were running on exactly the same sort of tyres.
Yes, same tyres, same track, same driver. So the times are down to the cars.
Yep, and now it is time to reveal those times. And let me just make it absolutely clear. We don't know what they are. The producers have kept them from us. They're top secret.
Yeah.
So let's put the scoreboard up and let's begin with the Ferrari, I believe. Let's see what it did it in, please. 154.4. We don't know if that's any good, do we? But
Well, let's move on and do the Porsche next. Let's have a look. What did the Porsche do it in? And it didn't mince it, it was slower than the Porsche. I told you, it's just a melon ball. It's slower than my car, which was faster than your car.
yeah, 0.2 of a second, and it looks better.
Yeah, it did. In my mirror, where it belongs, getting smaller. It's a melon ball and it lost.
Hammond, calm down.
All right.
Because now we must bring up the time that really matters. The one where a lot's at stake. The McLaren, the McLaren P1.
Are you nervous?
No.
Sure.
No.
A little bit?
No, I'm not nervous.
So why be nervous? Because you could get like a shopping trolley and keep all your things in it. Move it about, make some new friends under a bridge somewhere.
Hammond.
I'd say sell your body. Don't do that.
Be quiet. Let's bring up the time of the P1. Here we go.
Oh, God.
Where is it?
That is funny. Because you said the fastest, but it's not the fastest. It's the slowest.
Yeah. And on that terrible disappointment, I'm afraid it's time to end. Thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week in Johannesburg. Goodbye! everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our permanent new home here in the green heart of England land. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can I just say, it's not so much green as inconvenient.
Why is it inconvenient?
Well, Jeremy, how would you like to tell the ladies and gentlemen why you decided to put our tent precisely here?
Ah, it is exactly here because this spot is exactly halfway between May's house and Hammond's house. So there is no squabbling over who had the longest commute.
Yes, but your house is just over there. I could see it. Just there.
I haven't got a house. You may remember you blew it up.
Oh, all right, your backup house.
Yeah, your spare house is just there.
Let's not get bogged down with whose house is the nearest.
It's yours. Definitely yours. Is that your cat?
The point is...
Oh, hang on, Jezza, you've got a parcel. No, I can tell there's a man putting one of those I can't be asked to ring the doorbell cards through the letterbox.
The tent is located here, yes, but this is still very much the Grand Tour. The globe is still our playground, as you will see from this short clip of what's coming up over the next 11 weeks. Okay, it's time now, and nobody's ever said this on a car show before. Save the world.
Morning, Shotbird.
Oh, my giddy aunt. Holy shit.
Here they come.
Oh, here we go again.
Get out of the way, get out of the way, I'm in a race.
Extending fuel nozzle.
We are pumping gas! Have we got to drive up there?
Fire service is now available in your area.
I'm better than him.
Hello.
You're gonna have to work a bit harder, Jaguar! We've been busy. We have been very busy. Anyway, that is all to come. This, however, is now, and we have an important job to do, an important question to answer. Which is better, the past, the present, or the future? By which I mean, which is better, petrol power, hybrid power, or electrical power?
Now, to do this, we are going to use the Lamborghini Aventador S, which has a petrol engine and is therefore from the pages of ancient history. And that will be driven by our resident Neanderthal. Representing the present day, we have the Honda NSX, which is a modern hybrid, and that obviously will be driven by somebody crisp and contemporary. Me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I shall be driving something from the future, an all-electric supercar from Croatia.
I don't know how that ends.
Yeah. Yeah. And while we're on... And while we are on the subject of me, I decided to take charge of where we would do this test. I'm tired of these two picking places that I don't like or understand, which is why this week the Grand Tour is off to Switzerland.
Well, here it is, the Rimac Concept 1. The world's first electric supercar. Go, go, go! Oh, God. Oh, my God, I keep the pressure on. Until they turned up. Listen to that.
Look, everything was better in the past. Christopher Wren was a better architect than those numpties you see on Grand Designs. Bob Seger could belt out a better tune than Justin Bieber. And this Lamborghini is better than Hammond's Lady Shaver. It just is, in every way. Savage acceleration. Oh, dearie me.
No, the present is best. Everything in the world now is better than it was a minute ago. And everything in the world now is better than it's going to be in another minute, because we don't know what that is yet. It might be the nuclear holocaust. Humankind can only live in the present, and that's why you need a Honda NSX, okay? Away! Concentrate, look through the bend. This is quite a complicated one. The NSX is by far the cleverest of the three cars here because of its dual powertrain. It has the dependability, the availability, of fossil fuels and the magic and helpfulness, if you like, of electricity. It's a hybrid, and it really is rather brilliant.
They probably think this is some sort of Eastern European electric milk float in a supercar suit. Well, they're wrong. Very wrong. Plenty of power, this is good. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, God.
I know the Rimac is very pretty, I can see that. And I know it's very...
Go!
pretty, I can see that. And I know it's very fast. But I also know it can't do this. I know it looks like the three of us are just clowning around in some supercars on a lovely, lovely day on a beautiful bit of road. But this is important work. It is. It is.
Oh, brilliant. Go! Moron. Come on, keep going.
Yes, brilliant.
Oh, no. Oh, for God's sake. Whoa!
That is okay.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
And to prove its important work, we decided to pull over and start acting like important car journalists.
You may mock the idea of a Croatian supercar, but Rimac is already working with Koenigsegg and Aston Martin on their battery tech. It's a serious company, so serious that they make nearly every bit of this car themselves. Sat-nav, switchgear, headlamps, all in-house.
Apart from the leather, if you go for that, which is Bulgarian.
Oh, I love Bulgarian
It's
leather.
my favourite. But anyway, the reason I like the Aventador most is because it defines the supercar. It wasn't designed to do 1 billion round Brands Hatch. It was designed to do 9 on Knightsbridge. It was designed to make people go, wow, and it does. If you want to go fast, buy a Ferrari.
Or a Rimac.
Well, that's for shaving your legs, if you're a lady.
I love the Lamborghini as well. The styling especially, it's fantastic. But you know that the sort of time and thought that Lamborghini put into that, Honda put into things that they thought were important, like making a new type of steel section for that pillar so it can be smaller, so you can see out better, 10 radiators to cool the drivetrain, and lots of other stuff that make modern technology simple to use.
I just don't like it.
Well, how is that relevant? I'm talking about it, and I
don't
like it.
I
You're wrong.
I wanted to like it, but I don't.
You're redundant.
I didn't like. I really wanted to like it. I've been 10 years looking forward to it. I wanted to like it. I got in it. I didn't like it.
But it doesn't matter because I do.
You are
No,
wrong.
I'm not wrong. I do.
Eventually, we stopped arguing and set off. Sadly, however, things took a turn for the worse when we arrived at the hotel that Hammond had booked.
What?
Hammond, what is a wellness retreat?
One of these.
More specifically, hang on, it said Swiss Natural Detox. Are you serious?
Yes.
Do you realise that could result in your death?
Could.
Yes.
Sorry, Will, what are you thinking of? Why?
Well, it's convenient. It's near many things
Well,
I
it's
want
the
to be
only
near.
hotel.
Do they do colonic here?
Yes.
Would you like to know what colonic feels like?
The new electric version.
Do they
It's very
really do
modern.
colonic here?
You might feel better for it.
I won't feel better
You'll
for
thank
it.
me for it in a bit.
Would you like a glass of water, James, and some kale?
Oh, yes, that's what I always have for supper.
Over dinner that night, the mood was dark.
How long are we here for?
4 days.
4 days?
I've got a lot of things planned.
Yeah, but we're going to starve to death, Hammond.
No, you won't. Listen, what this is tough love. Well, not love for you two, but it's what you need. It's tougher hate than usual is what I'm giving you. I'm taking you in hand and for both of your sakes, turning you around, turning over a new leaf. I actually think James is looking better already. Look at him, he's got a healthy glow.
He isn't looking better, he's looking angrier.
You're going to look a lot worse in a minute, I can guarantee that.
Look at the view. Look at that. Look at that.
You can't eat that.
Our first outing was to a museum in the nearby city of Lucerne.
Are you terrified?
Bloody racket.
This is absolutely brilliant. That's will do. What are you doing here?
A bit personal, wasn't it?
I've got him!
Really?
It is quite scary through here.
That night over dinner, the mood was even darker. And the following day, it didn't improve, because Hammond made us go on exactly the same route as he had the day before. And after Hammond had plugged his car into the same charging point, we went off to look at that day's underwhelming attraction, the Museum of Chess.
Boom! I win!
He doesn't even know how to play, does he? And then the penny dropped.
Hammond, what are we doing tomorrow?
Going to a pencil museum.
Is the Pencil Museum in the same town as this museum?
Yes.
Do you keep bringing us to this town because it's the only one within 100 miles of our wellness centre where there is a fast charging point for your car?
Yes.
So, that night, after another plate of weeds, James and I sacked Hammond as team leader and came up with our own schedule. Right, we found an airfield, and now we're going to have a drag race, which is a lot more interesting than going to a museum.
I thought he'd like museums. I mean, his driving run.
Track, check, traction, yes.
I put it in launch, which sets the rear two engines in the first of their two gears. The front two engines only have one gear. I do not know how that works. Why doesn't the car stretch or overtake itself?
The simple fact of the matter is that because this car has no electrical gubbins, it is, despite appearances, the lightest car here. And it has 730 horsepower. So allow me, please, to demonstrate that you can't beat old-time rock and roll. Thrust mode.
3, 2, 1, go!
That Rimac just off.
If that is the future, I am so ready! Oh! Oh!
I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen anything move as quickly as that. Not with number plates. Annoyed that my dinosaur had been humiliated, I decided to show Hammond that it still has enough power to kick-start a dying star. That's what Lamborghinis are all about.
Oh, my word.
Sitrep, the entire tyre has been consumed by the heart of the monster.
It has.
Do you know the thing was? The tyre pressure warning light came on.
What could that have meant?
Well, it meant that on this, it was specifically telling me there was a problem with this tyre. So I ignored it.
Yes. It's a good job you're not an airline pilot.
Yes. However, we'll get it fixed, and then, actually, we got to find a track. And then I will be able to thrash you. What do you know?
You won't find a track in Switzerland, will you? Because motor racing is banned.
What do you mean banned?
No, it is. 1955, there was an accident in France at Le Mans. The Swiss banned motorsport. It's still banned today.
We can think of something else. Something that requires 4 tyres.
Oh, God, I tell you what, though, it does mean another night in his hotel.
And you're going to drive there on a space saver.
No, I know something we can do.
What?
There's plenty to occupy us at the hotel.
Well,
Come on.
Not supper. That
I may take a
occupies you
while
for-
because I'm going to the place.
Oh, Jesus! The thing that they banned was that because in the famous Le Mans crash, cars crashed into each other into the ground, but that can't happen in a hill climb, so would they allow stuff against the clock?
I don't know, because I've got a tube up my arse.
Come on, think, Clarkson.
I think you can do hill climbing in Switzerland, but I don't know for sure, because I've got a tube up my arse.
Right. Okay, but that's a start. Let's see if we can find out. Ouch! Ah!
After a bit of digging around, James discovered there was a Swiss hill climb event on that weekend. And it was only 200 miles from our hotel. Which was fine, for some of us. At this speed, 6 of my 12 cylinders are shut down. They're not using any fuel at all, so I could probably do 400 miles on the fuel I have. Just check on James. James, are you able to make the hill climb event 200 miles away?
Let me just have a look. Yes, I am.
Well, how do you know without fuel gauge?
I can't be bothered.
It's not straight, is it? Admit it.
Happy piling the motorway miles on your precious cars, aren't you? Good.
Why is there somebody talking to us from a van, James?
It's a lorry.
Hey, Hammond, I don't know where you are, but there's a really remarkable-looking futuristic car on the back of a truck. Must just be a mock-up, I suppose, otherwise it would be being driven.
Yeah, you pile the miles on, enjoy yourself.
After leaving the van driver far behind, James and I arrived at what's almost certainly the most beautiful hill climb event in the world.
What? All good for him.
Oh, yeah. It's the van driver.
Well, he won't have the energy to drive up the hill.
What?
He won't have the energy to drive up the hill.
Here I am, car rested, ready and fully charged.
Breakfast, actual food, brown food.
Yeah. Well, professional racers do carb load, don't they, before races?
Like,
So you're sort of
like all athletes, carb load.
Yeah,
They don't lettuce load.
As I walked over, I saw you two and thought, athletes.
Shut up, Howard.
With the practice session complete, it was time to go against the clock. And for me, this was a problem. Because the rules said that in timed runs, I had to wear a helmet.
No.
Nope. Right, well, I can either drive like this with a helmet on, or... What the hell are we going to do? It was time to break out my genius.
Lamborghini's got one of their test drivers here. He's about this big.
What's your name?
Giacomo.
Giacomo.
Giacomo is the Italian name.
Giacomo.
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 Whatever. Don't worry, you look exactly like me. I'll tilt that camera down, it'll make you look taller. Be fine with a crash helmet on. Curly hair, same as me. You got to sound like me.
All right.
So, Hammond, you idiot. Say that. Hammond, you idiot.
Hammond, you idiot.
You idiot.
You idiot.
Exactly, because he always is an idiot, so you can always drop that in. It's a useful phrase.
Hammond,
The other one is, this is the fastest car, pause, In the world.
This is fastest car, pause, in the world.
Say it.
This is the fastest car, pause, in the world.
With all that sorted out, James took his place on the start line.
This is the big one. Jabber brakes, Apex is there. Concentrate, mate, concentrate. I'm sorry I didn't say anything, that was my concentrating face. That's the most I've concentrated for 5 years.
Then it was my turn. Astonishing time on the score sheet, Hammond had it all to do, and we decided to give him some encouragement.
Hammond?
Yeah?
Really, really big crowds here today, as you can see.
Yeah.
Okay? Because they know you're going to break the record here.
Well,
54 seconds.
54?
Well, come on, you're at 1,200 horsepower, you've been practicing all morning.
Yeah, actually, it is the most powerful car here by some margin.
Well, I can't promise
Well,
to...
it's the fastest car
win.
I've ever seen. Look at it this way. The whole of Croatia is watching this, knowing that you're going to do it for them.
In 52 seconds' time, you're going to be whatever the equivalent of a hero of the Soviet Union is, but in modern-day Croatia. They'll have a name
Not
for
just
it.
Croatia,
But
it's
no,
the whole
spreading out.
Eastern European region.
Yeah.
You have got a lot riding on your shoulders, Richard Hammond. A lot.
You will be on a coin.
Thank you,
His
guys.
His face will be on a coin.
Or a stamp.
Oh, I'm quite nervous. I'm suddenly nervous. Okay, here we go. Give me your best shot, Rich. Yeah. Watch this. Begin. I'm quite nervous. Oh no. Oh God.
Putain.
Come on, keep going. Come on, this is it. This is dangerous because of you.
Ah, sa grand-mère.
Okay, here we go. Give me your best shot, Rich. Yeah. Watch this. Go! I'm quite nervous.
Putain.
Okay, here we go. Give your best shot, Rich. Yeah. Watch this. Go!
Oh, I'm nervous.
Oh, are you ready?
Come on, this is it. Come on, keep going. Come on, this is it. Brilliant.
Oh my God!
Okay, here we go. Give your best shot, Rich. Yeah. Watch this. Go, go, go!
Oh, I'm nervous.
Come on, keep going. Come on, this is it.
That is just the best. Oh!
Oh la vache.
Right, I have the times here. Are you ready? Representing the present day. The Honda NSX did it in 1:20.4. Okay? Representing the past, the Lamborghini Aventador did it in 1 minute 10.4. And this is the big one, representing the future. The Rimac did it in 1 minute 14.7.
Yes! I'm the winner! I am victorious!
Wait a minute!
The past!
You weren't even driving the bloody car!
Well, you were driving your car and you crashed it.
Yes, but I crashed after the finishing line, like a fish.
Hammond, when was the last time you went home after work not in an air ambulance?
When was the last time you took your own clothes off at night rather than have a paramedic cut them off in a field?
Now, hang on a minute.
You crashed after the finishing line, so our cameras weren't there. We had to get that clip from YouTube. That is not professional. That is selfish.
Look, I just don't know how it happened.
We do. We know exactly how it happened. History has taught us you can't drive in a straight line. And now we've seen you can't drive around the corner either.
Do you know what's a really remarkable thing about that crash?
What?
That car continued to catch fire 5 days after it happened.
What? Bursting into...
Yeah, spontaneously bursting into flames. And the reason is the accident damaged one of the cells in the lithium-ion battery. That causes a short circuit, it catches fire. But then that damages the next cell, so that one catches fire. And so it goes on. There are 8,000 cells in that thing.
So it's like a chain reaction. What do they call it?
Yeah, chain reaction. It's called thermal runaways. Bang, 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 and so it goes on.
I was all right.
it's relevant. Okay.
We don't care, and anyway, it's time to end the programme with a conclusion to our very thorough test. And it's this. The future is very fast and extremely quiet, but a bit burny. And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!
Honestly, I don't know.
Hurry up! Now, a lot of people have been saying, why has it taken so long? What have you been doing? Well, hopefully, we can answer that with this short montage of what you can expect over the next 13 weeks.
Is that barrel gonna...
Fire everywhere!
He's gone!
Look! Hang on a minute!
The nearest civilization is a town called Morol. In order to reach it, you must build the contents of these boxes. You have enough food for 7 days.
Oh, God!
Were this not such a serious situation, it would be a good laugh.
There must have been 30 or 40 people in the room when the police arrived.
Clarkson!
Jesus Christ, no, I'm too close to the edge.
Let's sing a song.
No. I am sitting where Jim Clark sat.
Going in hard and hard! We're fleeing!
Okay, flee. Well, they'll be using a pistol, won't they?
I think you're going to like this series, and I particularly think you're going to like how it begins, because even over here on this side of the pond, we recognise that Detroit is the spiritual home to anyone whose communion wine is petrol and whose heart beats like a big, lumpy, wet V8. Which is why this week, and it's long overdue, the Grand Tour is off to the Motor City with an idea.
Of course, the whole world knows that Detroit is now a shadow of its former self. But we also know that efforts are being made to bring life back to the ruins, with urban farms. Local people are being encouraged to grow kale and beans and seeds in plots like this, where houses and businesses once stood. It breaks your heart. I mean, this is Detroit. It shouldn't be a help-yourself pop-up street allotment for organic vegan peace hippies, when it could be a pulsating playground for the petrol head. It has the roads. It has the space. It was built by the rumble of a V8, and it should rumble to that sound once more. So that's what we've come here to do. Make some noise. These are the toys we'll be using. 3 American muscle cars, all of which have been tuned to a tire-shredding DEFCON 1. I have the Ford Mustang RTR Spec 3. Mr. Slowly has what's called the Exorcist. And in his whining Dodge Challenger Demon, Hammond has an erection.
To make this, they took a Hellcat I drove one before on the show and just made it more of everything. Watch this.
This car is tuned by Hennessy. They've taken a standard Camaro and they've given it 1,000 horsepower. They haven't touched anything else, only the engine. Wheels are standard, brakes are standard, suspension is standard, bodywork is standard. It's all standard except the power. idiotic, honestly. And yay,
Moi, je vais faire...
They haven't touched anything else, only the engine. Wheels are standard, brakes are standard, suspension is standard, bodywork is standard. It's all standard, except for power. It's idiotic, honestly.
Putain.
But yay, they haven't touched anything else, only the engine. Wheels are standard, brakes are standard, suspension is standard, bodywork is standard. It's all standard, except for power. It's idiotic, honestly. But they haven't touched anything else, only the engine. Wheels are standard, brakes are standard, suspension is standard, bodywork is standard. It's all standard, except for power. It's idiotic, honestly.
Oh putain de ta race.
But yay. They haven't touched anything else, only the engine. Wheels are standard, brakes are standard, suspension is standard, bodywork is standard. It's all standard, except for power. fire. It's idiotic, honestly. And yea, though I walk in the shadow of the valley of death, I will fear no evil. Because I am the Exorcist.
This may look small and delicate compared to the other two, but be in no doubt, it has the muscle car credentials. Oh yeah. The fact is that the engine in Hammond's car is a push-rod, two-valve iron museum piece. And May's car, yes, it has 1,000 horsepower, but it's running on standard brakes. This is just a little bit cleverer. They haven't just put a supercharger on it and left it at that. They've stiffened up the suspension and lowered it and stiffened the anti-roll bars. So, it can do this. Anthony Joshua of muscle cars. Big and brawny, but it has brains as well. And as its name, it's the RTR, which stands for, and I'm not making this up, ready to rock.
Chaps, did you know mine only comes with one seat as standard?
Really?
What?
As standard, you get one seat in a Demon. You can opt to have the others put back in, and it costs you $1.
Which seat do they put in as standard?
Eventually, we decided to pull over in our motoring theme park to see which of our fairground muscle rides would be the fastest in a street drag race.
So, what I'm thinking is, here, when the lights go green, down, what's a quarter of a mile, just beyond the church?
Yeah, something like that.
Perfect.
What if the police come?
Well, he won't, he's in Beverly Hills. I've seen the movie.
Why can't we just do this on a racetrack or a runway like we usually do?
Because we're here to prove that this is a racetrack.
Detroit is empty now and should just be used for this sort of thing.
Yes, but it isn't a real race. It isn't an actual race.
No, it is.
It is.
This is where the muscle car was born.
I can't do it.
Why can't you do it?
Because Dodge only lent me that car if I promised not to do any drag racing on the road with it.
What? That's what it's for.
I know.
It's literally what it's for.
Yes, I know, but that's the way it is. I'm sorry.
Do you think it's an insurance?
It is. It's because it's
No,
him.
it's
because
not.
You don't want it on the roof.
Who's driving it? Richard Hammond.
You can't drive it.
It's just what they said, and I'm really sorry, so we can't do it. I'm sorry.
We can.
We're not going to do it without that.
Let me think. Yeah, we are. Just
Really
right the way. Right the way.
One for all and all.
Aircon is off.
sure that this car is so complicated. There's a YouTube video about it, and I have watched it, but I've forgotten.
Finally, I waved the white flag. And then we took a closer look at the savage beating heart of the Exorcist. And that's a standard Corvette engine, basically.
Z06, yep.
With a supercharger plonked on the top. That's there, yes?
Yes, 2.9-litre supercharger.
So the bit they've bolted to your engine is bigger than most European engines.
Yes.
So's the one on mine. It's 2.7 litres.
Yeah, not as big. The point is, Simon, this is the Exorcist. The job of the Exorcist is to vanquish the demon.
It's like, you remember in the 60s, I think Di Tommaso made a car called the Mangusta, which is Italian for mongoose.
Yes, and a mongoose can kill a cobra, can't it?
That's why they did it.
Yes, but this hasn't vanquished the demon. It hasn't beaten it.
Tell you what, why don't you find a racetrack or a runway somewhere, okay? I'll gracefully bow out, and we can have a race between good and evil. First, though, we decided to find out which of our cars makes the loudest noise. There were, of course, many possible locations for this important test. But eventually, we found one that was absolutely ideal.
Since the owners feared the noise from our engines would bring down the crumbling roof, we were given protective clothing.
I've got to put this on because there may be dust. There will be dust.
Traction off. I'll just make wheel spin. Wheel spin, that just makes a huge amount of noise. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go.
Oh, good.
God, that's pretty horrible.
How loud?
Well, at its peak,
Yep.
125.2. Oh, wait a minute. You don't know. You're the first to go.
125?
Yes.
The Who, widely regarded to be the loudest rock band of all time.
Yes.
126 decibels. Deep Purple, a mere 117 decibels. That car is louder than Deep Purple.
But probably a lot quieter than my demon.
Any minute now, paramedic will be cutting his trousers off.
You should have taken them off before he got in.
Joe, I don't know why he wears trousers.
Here we go. Ready in 3, 2. Oh, wait a minute. It hasn't done it. Easy mistake. We've all done it. Forgotten the key when you're donutting in a Detroit theatre that's been turned into a multi-story car park. Everybody's been there.
Okay, in 3, 2...
We're off. Oh my God.
125.2 to beat.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of noise.
118.8 tiptoe boy.
2.7 litre capacity supercharger on it. It's
yeah, but it doesn't make
well,
any
they didn't
noise.
build it for this. They built it for drag racing, and they wouldn't let me
Oh,
do that.
did they?
So
Did they?
How do we know?
well, they did.
Before this sore point became even sorer, I sent James off to have a go.
Don't think he's ever done a donut
No.
in his life.
No.
We are about to witness James D. May losing his virginity.
Popping his donut cherry.
James May, are you ready? Fire it up in 3. It took him a little while, but eventually he got the hang of it.
What's my score?
Why don't we just go?
Come on, James, we've got to go.
Yep, moving on.
What was that?
Oh, I've wiped it.
No, you haven't.
It was 12.
Come on, what was... Why have I got this on my face? What was
It
it?
was 128, so just 2.8 more than me.
So more.
Yes.
Hold that.
Why?
Please just hold that.
Oh, I hate the victory dance. I hate the victory dance.
Good, right, let's
How
move
much
on.
is your car? How much?
98, something like that.
£98,000.
Yes.
40,000.
Yeah, but mine's better, so it's more expensive.
40,000.
It's faster and louder.
720 horsepower, £40,000.
Am I the only person here who understands muscle cars?
That's a ridiculous thing to say.
You asked for it. You asked for it. You never got the burgers either.
No, you didn't. We shall pick that up later on.
You may remember in actually the very first show of the Grand Tour in the first season, I was blown away by McLaren P1.
Yeah, I do remember. You said it would be faster than the Porsche 918 and the Ferrari. And, no, wait a minute. It wasn't, was it? And as a result, the only thing that got blown away was your house.
Yes, that's undoubtedly true.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it remains to this day the most exciting, most brutal, most visceral car I've ever driven. And I didn't think it could ever be topped. But McLaren have given it a bash. And I thought, well, if they've built a car that can out P1 a P1, I'd better test it somewhere a bit less narrow and a bit less tree-lined and a bit less covered in deers and badgers than the Ebola drone. So I took it to the fastest racetrack in Europe, which is, actually, anyone want to guess which it is? No, not Monza. Not Spa.
Do you know?
What?
Do you know?
Thruxton.
Boys.
Thruxton is the fastest racetrack in Europe. So that's where I took the new McLaren.
Hello, fellow driving enthusiasts. James here. Owing to the unique way we make video games, we are sadly unable to have the McLaren Senna in this episode for now. Apologies for that. As a sort of consolation prize, we're going to go back and look at Hammond driving the equally fantastic McLaren 720S from Season 2. It's a cracker, apart from the Hammond bit.
While the outgoing car may have been great to drive, it was never what you'd call beautiful or even very exciting to look at. But its replacement, well, that's a different matter. It's called the 720S, and from any angle and in every detail,
It's simply sensational. Right down to the engine bay that glows red when you unlock the doors.
Yep, on the head turnometer, this thing definitely matches the Ferrari 488 and the Lamborghini Huracan. And then when we move on to the business of speed and power, it actually beats them. Go, go, go! Come on, come on, come on! Oh, no.
Naught to 60 takes just 2.8 seconds. Naught to 60 takes just 2.8 seconds.
We're off. Unleash the beast!
Naught to 60 takes just 2.8 seconds.
This is dangerous because of you.
Naught to 60 takes just 2.8 seconds. Top speed is 212 miles an hour. Both those numbers walloping the efforts of the Italians.
Everything is bigger in this car. Even the price, £208,000. Oh wait, that's not a good point, is it? No, that's a... never mind, whatever. The horsepower is... well, it's ridiculous is what it is. This 4-litre V8 with its twin turbos produces 710 of them. To put that into context, the actual mechanical engine in a McLaren P1 without all the hybrid battery boost produces just 17 horsepower more. Net result of that is... staggering! This is breathtaking!
Bloody surprised. Go, go. Oh. Come on, come on, come on. Are you ready?
Although they've gone nuts with the styling and the engine, the 720 is still very much a McLaren.
By that, I mean it's been made by the ultimate tech nerds from the kingdom of geeks. Let me put it this way. This is, like I say, the replacement for the McLaren 650S. And if you ask a McLaren technician, so how much of this car is new then? They will tell you 91%. Not nearly all of it, mate, or about 90%. 91%. James May applied for a job at McLaren, but they turned him down for being too slapdash.
And this incredible geekery has paid dividends. For example, one of the reasons the 720 looks so pretty is because it's the only mid-engine supercar without massive gaping intakes behind the doors. Instead, McLaren created subtle channels along the bodywork to feed air into the engine bay.
More nerd stuff. The old car, the 650, had a carbon fibre tub that came up to here. On the 720, all of that down the centre, everything is carbon fibre. That means these carbon windscreen pillars can be very thin, which makes it easier to see out, and it's light. Overall, they've lost about 18 kilograms up here. That means the centre of gravity is lower, which is good. God, it's the grip is staggering. It feels like a four-wheel drive. But if you do want things to get a little more nary, simply dive into the computers and activate variable drift control. It lets you select the angle of dangle through your drift by varying the amount of traction control. I think we'll go for all of it. Lots of drift available. Traction control, I think we'll go for all of it. Lots of drift available.
at your slide best. You can switch back to comfort mode and settle down for a relaxing cruise.
That's the thing that stands out about this car. It's everything in one. You want speed, you get speed. You want comfort, you get comfort. You want to lose tyre rubber, help yourself. You want boot space, there's plenty.
But the thing I keep coming back to is those looks. Because at last, McLaren's technical perfection has been clothed in a way that does justice to the fizzing brilliance underneath.
God, I'm falling in love a bit here. Actually, no, I'll go further. I'm in love. This is utterly brilliant.
We must now get back to our film.
Yes.
Earlier on, we decided that Detroit should be a big sort of petrol-head theme park. So we went over there with 3 tuned muscle cars.
Yeah, and so far we've staged a drag race, done some donuts, and Jeremy has driven over some vegetables.
And then the next day, we decided that what Detroit really needs is a racetrack.
Yeah, even though it already has 2.
Yes, but we wanted something more earthy. So we headed for the city centre. Having returned to the rundown suburbs, we eventually found the perfect place to build a racetrack. Cadillac's old Connor Avenue factory. For over 60 years, they stamped out the body panels here for icons like the Eldorado, the Fleetwood, and the Coupe de Ville. If it were up to James, this creaking monument to the Motor City's decline would be turned into a shrubbery. But it wasn't up to James. So it would become a Monte Carlo-style tunnel feature on our Detroit-themed racetrack. Because building the track involved heavy machinery and manual labor, Hammond insisted on doing everything himself.
That is going to be a fast corner.
Despite this, though, he soon had everything ready. Because the track had been built by the world's most accident-prone driver, we thought it best that the God-fearing exorcist should christen it.
Oh!
James couldn't wait to give Hammond some that the God-fearing exorcist should christen it. James couldn't wait to give Hammond some constructive feedback.
I just want to say, Hammond, you witless, full of holes, it's full of obstacles for you to crash into, it's narrow.
It's challenging, is it? Technical?
It's not challenging, it's only about that much bigger than the car, and it's made of butter. And it appears to be full of asbestos waste.
Oh, it is full of asbestos?
Yeah, I'm sorry about
well,
that.
thank you.
Sorry, close your window.
All of us
drivers then set about our practice laps on Hammond's Death Trap. However, these were just unofficial practice laps. Now it was time for the one-shot winner-takes-all real thing.
In 3, 2, 1, begin!
Myself.
Funny noise.
However, the trouser accident had clearly been worth it.
Yep. I'm happy with that, and I haven't hit any famous musicians or bits of old car factory.
Next, it was the turn of Corporal Crash.
Where's the fire engine gone? I saw
Fire
it
engine's over there. The ambulance is...
Oh, we're all comedians today.
there.
Yep.
Remember, if you lose to James May...
It's more humiliating. It's worse than death.
In 3, 2, 1...
Go, go, go! Oh, God.
My own car doesn't fit around my own racetrack. What have I done? Oh, my God. Right, we're all set. Oh, what a victory! Gotta keep the pressure on. Oh, God. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, for God's sake. Watch this. Oh, dear God. Right there. Oh my God. Turning power, this is good. Oh, I'm slightly alarmed. felt good. It felt like a quick one.
I don't know how to put this to you, but...
No.
0.4 of a second slower than James May.
This is what death feels like.
Yep, okay, get out of the demon. We've done the demon and the exorcist. It's time for the Blue Nun.
Blue Nun?
Yeah.
Totally pointless waste of time then. We've established the Mustang is the fastest by an enormous margin. But I'll go and do it, I suppose.
Jeremy Smug in My Little Pony, are you ready?
In 3, 2, 1,
Tidy line. Oops. So, new plan. Really fast bit.
You're running!
I know, but you'll see. Got to get down to this corner before he gets back. Help me tip this over.
What is it?
It's organic palm oil, very slippery. It's the revenge of the urban farmer.
Into the blind bend. There is Stevie Wonder.
You do know it's palm oil that's ruining life for the world's orangutans.
Only this one.
Come on. Come on. Short shifting into third.
And on that terrible disappointment...
For him.
It's back to the tent.
You? I thought it had been you.
Oh, no.
You ruined my lap.
You said Detroit had to be a playground, and that's what I was doing. I was playing.
Listen, can my practice time stand? Because that was still the quickest.
That's not how it works. You can't just say that because you were the quickest in qualifying, you would have won the race if you hadn't crashed.
Well, I can say it.
Well, you can say it. I could say I'm the captain of the English cricket team. I wouldn't be any good at it.
Well, moving on.
I don't know where he was going with that. Anyway, look. In part one of that film, we said that we would have a race between the Demon and the Exorcist, a drag race, yeah? And then it never happened. Except it did.
Yeah. You see, Dodge said we couldn't drag race it on the street, but they didn't say anything about airfields. So after we'd finished at our track, we found one of those.
Now, I bowed out of this like I said I would, because the Mustang in the drag racing environment's never going to win. And it became a two-horse race between Sir Crash-a-Lot and the Onanist, okay? But we have a problem. See, we only have time left in the show, realistically, for one more thing. We've got the guest segment. And this week, I should tell you, it's between Howard from the Halifax Adverts and Adrian Childs to find the fastest person you don't really hear from much anymore. We'll have a vote, I think. Who here would like to see the celebrity segment? There's one over there. And who'd like to see the drag race?
Does that mean they're not coming on then?
Very much so. Very much so, James. So here it is then, the race between good and evil.
Right, here we go, viewers. It's either salvation or a world plunged into eternal darkness.
Okay, this is it. The race between good and evil. Are we ready, gentlemen? We ready?
No.
What's happening?
I've got a couple of things to do before we start.
You think you can't just drag race this now?
Well, you've got to do it properly. This is a proper drag racing car.
What is he doing?
This is what you get when you buy a Demon. It costs you an extra $1 and you get this crate. Oh, it's like a picnic hamper for men. Then, underneath and to either side, I've got boxes with the new ECU. I've got everything I need.
ECU?
Yeah. Look at that!
He's got this enormous crate and some bags and tins full of tools with 2 space savers and...
Space saver wheels?
Hang on. Right, so that's it. Good.
Yep, now we're going to do the ECU. Which goes in here, I believe. We'll have to take that out, I think.
She's now got a different ECU, just telling the engine's a bit powerful.
Why didn't they just put that one in from the start?
So this all goes back in here with my new switch gear in.
It's 1 hour and 7 minutes.
Actually, you're right, it is. It's over an hour now. It's hard.
There we go.
Finally, the rebuild of the Demon was complete. And it was time for the drivers to warm their tires.
Pourquoi il a changé les pneus avant, il est con?
2, 1, burn out!
Go!
Right, your tyres are warm. Are you now ready? What? Are you ready to come to the start line?
No.
What do you mean, no?
No, that was just a celebratory burnout.
Oh, jeez, he's got out.
I've done all the building work. Now I've got to set the car up. I've got to get in the right modes. There's stuff to do, mate.
Oh, I've had enough. I'm sorry, I've had enough. Bye.
We're never going to do this.
So I need to go into drag. Drag mode activating. Excellent. Drag transmission, drag traction, power. So power needs to go up to 840. We are now in high octane.
I've never known anything like it.
With our starter on his way back to London, the traffic lights were brought in, and finally, we were ready to go. I'm gonna bust your ass, evil boy. Oh, yes.
What are you going to do with it now? Because I've seen the film and I wouldn't do it. Three, 2, 1, go! Come on, keep going. Evil wins! Evil wins! Yes! Victory for the Demon. Thank you. Aha!
Yes,
I won.
you won.
I was in front of your car, which means I won.
Can I just point out that first you had to spend half a day rebuilding half your car, and then you had to run it on fuel that you can't buy from a normal petrol station.
No, wait a minute. Your excrement runs on that clever fuel all the time.
I was sort of banking on you not knowing that.
Yes, well,
Gentlemen,
I do know it.
Gentlemen, I think we have to agree that the Mustang is the only car here that ticks all the muscle car boxes. It's cheap, it's powerful, it runs on fuel you can buy, and you can have it with the steering wheel on the correct side.
You don't get it, do you? You just don't get it. A muscle car is supposed to have 1,000 horsepower, be undrivable, and have a stupid name.
It's called Ready to Rock. That is a stupid name. Listen, Hammond, not only are you the fiscal brain of this operation, you're also the resident muscle car enthusiast, yes? So, and I know the answer to this because you told me on the plane on the way home, of the 3 cars, which would you actually buy?
Buy.
Buy.
With my own money?
Yes.
Buy.
Yes.
Myself?
Yes.
It's the Mustang.
There you go, the Mustang. And so on that terrible disappointment for you...
Snowflakes.
It's time to end. Now, next week, it is a Grand Tour special, where we attempt to become the first ever television show in the history of television to go to Colombia and not use the C word. See you then. Goodbye.
Honestly, I don't know.
Is that the size of the drop, or what's that?
You're looking at magnificent.
Help! This is bad. Are we ready, gentlemen?
Honestly, I don't know.
Is that the size of the drop, or what's that?
You're looking at magnificent.
Help! This is bad. Daniel says we've got to stop. He doesn't like it.
Bloody Nora.
There's dignity in that, isn't there? Are we ready, gentlemen?
Honestly, I don't know.
Yes, yes, yes! Much better. Need to make a frown.
Yeah, fine, thank you.
It ruined your day out because it was fun.
away. Much better.
Oh my God!
Good start. Cap him. Look at you. Let's win, shall we? Out.
I was very brave doing that. I was. I'm exhausted.
See ya. Doing well here. Enjoy. Much better. Just passing through here.
Come on! That makes it better.
Not much time left.
This is terrible.
Go on, eh?
Nice. Much better.
Oh, yeah.
Much better. You can do it. Doing well here.
Honestly, I don't know.
주변 가서 아니면 제 거라도 해요.